Welcome to the Complete Fitness Podcast with Core 4 Complete Fitness. Your episode is starting in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you all. Hopefully you guys are having a great first month of August. Like always, guys, before we get going into today's podcast, our quick little self-promotion that we do takes you no longer than 2 seconds. But if you guys could please, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on any of your apps, there is a subscribe button on there. And if you press the subscribe button, you will get notified immediately when we drop a new episode. And it'll help us bump up the charts of these platforms. And it takes you 2 seconds and it's free. So if you guys could please take 2 seconds, think of it like your good deed for the day. Just subscribe to the podcast, whether you're, again, watching, listening, whatever your preferred method of getting us in your car, house, headphones, whatever it is. But hit the damn subscribe button and we will keep on cranking these out for you. Now, today, we wanted to talk to you probably about one of the biggest underlying issues why people fail to either number one, get in shape, or number two, stay in shape. And that is changing the identity of yourself or the individual that is trying to get in shape. And I'll give you an example of this. If you were somebody that was like, I'm going to start exercising on Monday and I want to lose 50 pounds. And I know that the stuff that I used to do, whether it's going through the drive-through 2 or 3 times a week, getting a donut when you get coffee, ordering pizza at night, maybe you exercise, 3 times a month and that's it. But eventually you have to get to the point where you're like, okay, I am no longer this unhealthy person or this unhealthy individual. And it sounds kind of silly, but you have to almost like recreate yourself and recreate your identity of that to match a healthy individual, right? You can't like trick yourself. And some of you guys maybe have tried this where Monday I'm gonna fix everything. I'm gonna get to the gym. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm gonna eat nothing but salads, and then Thursday comes and you're like, okay, well, maybe just this once I'll order out, or maybe just this once I'll have some drinks. And then Friday comes and you do it again and you do it again. And there hasn't been this shift or this change in who you actually are. You'd started stuff for 3 days, but deep down internally, there has to be kind of this switch or this light bulb to go off that you're like, the old me is going away. I'm not saying that I can't ever have fun again or can't do these things again. But if I want to kind of form and, create this new me and this new identity, I have to have certain habits and certain things that I do now that are going to progress me to get to that person. And one of the best analogies that I ever heard was think of it like a thermostat, where if your thermostat, let's say, is set at 70 degrees, and 70 means, okay, I'm getting to the gym maybe once a week. I'm eating fast food. I'm getting all this, crap in my body. I'm not moving. Maybe you're not drinking enough water. You're going to stay at 70 as long as you keep doing those habits. Unless you begin to kind of raise that thermostat temperature. Then you go, okay, now I'm burning at 75 degrees. And maybe that means I'm getting to the gym 3 days a week and I'm eating healthy and I'm drinking water. And then you go, okay, I want to raise this up more. All of a sudden you're at 80 degrees and you go, now I'm working out 5 days a week. But the problem with a lot of people is they'll stay at 75 or 80 for a day or a week or a couple days. And if you don't keep an eye on that thermostat, eventually it will begin to drop back down to 70 where you don't want to be. So making sure that when you have that identity shift and you're trying to create or, become this new you that you want to become, you always have to kind of keep an eye on that internal thermostat and go, oh, I dropped a couple degrees. Let's raise it back up to where I know that I want to get. Makes sense? Capiche?
Oh, a lot of sense. I have so much to say on this topic that it's almost overwhelming. but but the first thing is this. This just reminded me of one of my all-time favorite quotes. Is it's your old way of doing things will lead to your old way of living. And I always bring this quote up, or it always runs true to me when I'm, whatever, feeling myself having a backslide, if you want to call it that. It's kind of dramatic, but anyway, your old way of doing things will lead to your old way of living. Is if you live by that, you need to kind of accept the way you're doing things isn't working. So we all have this profound moment where you go, I'm sick of feeling this way. I'm sick of looking this way, behaving this way, whatever it is. Big, profound, something really small. You catch yourself in a weird glimpse in the mirror and you go, oh, don't like that. Or it's something, a lot deeper, meaningful. It doesn't matter. People have these moments and we go, it's time to get in shape. In that moment, you need to understand that your old way of doing things is not the answer. So there needs to be some type of rebirth, something new. You need to be adding something new, something that you have not done potentially ever before. And here's the big thing. If you have done it before and it has worked before, it's also stopped before. It has not worked. It's worked for a short amount of time, right? So yes, you could jump on the new fad diet again. You could lose 30 pounds again. But guess what? You're going to get back to where you are now again also, because that path leads you to another, I got to restart. Oh, I fell off. And the only way to change that is a full lifestyle change. Now, that doesn't mean you're fully never eating bread again. That means if you're somebody that likes bread, figure out how to have bread in a normal, healthy diet, right? Figure out what you need to do if it's that much of a priority to you or whatever. Find the ways to manage. But what you are doing, the current way and the old way, is just going to continue this yo-yo effect as we go down the line. It's a very kind of hard message to convey. And then we're always battling, especially in the internet era, we're always battling the latest fad. All you got to do is take this pill. All you got to do is do keto. All you got to do is do this. And it's like, they will work. They will work, but they will only work for this amount of time. So what is the point, right?
Yeah. You're doing all this work. You're busting your butt.
Yeah.
But you're like, eventually, I know that I'm going to spring back the other way.
Yeah. And to speak to your thermostat analogy and this, you need kind of a rebirth and change in you. This kind of gets into the stuff of when when you're bullshitting yourself, right? When you're not going hard, when you've let the wheels fall off, and this is when you can't look around and go, oh, the gym isn't good enough, or oh, this coach isn't good enough, or this equipment isn't good enough, and we start pointing the finger at different things. My shoes are bad. My this is bad. Instead of being able to just be honest with ourselves and going, listen, I was operating at a 75 for a long time, and I know for a fact I've been operating at like a 65 for the last 3 months, 4 months. There's no wonder I'm up 10 pounds. My knees are hurting. I'm more fatigued. I don't have energy to play with my kids. It kind of gives you that, oh, okay, this is me, right? If I am operating at 75, I'm only going to feel good operating at 75. Once I dip down below 75, I'm going to feel lousy. I'm going to walk. Everything's going to be a little harder, a little darker, a little more challenging, lazier, more tired. And it's a very good way to kind of hold yourself accountable, right? And in another sense, like I do this, I know you do this, for in a work sense, but like your work life with the gyms is more established now than it's ever been. You have trainers, you have staff, you go this, your Mondays look like Mondays, your Tuesdays look like Tuesdays, but you're never just foots off the gas. You know how scary that would feel for you? To be like,
oh, I know.
I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to coast. Yeah, you might go a week on vacation like you did. You might take 10 days off. You might, not have the greatest day of work ever, but that's something that you've accumulated and earned with the last 10 years of working, right? But you're never just coasting.
I'm done now.
Yeah, bad things would happen, right? It's the same thing we apply to our health and fitness. Like, you can get in a routine and you can find something that works, but it's still going to be challenging on a Monday to do it if you were out, if you had a nice Sunday cookout day or football season's coming up, if you watch football all day and kind of just sat around and had some beers, Monday workout's going to be hard. But you're somebody that does a hard Monday workout. And so it doesn't weigh on you. It doesn't tax you. It's just part of what your life is. And that's what actually is adopting a new lifestyle. And that is what changes. That's what avoids that feeling of, I got to get back in the swing of things. I'm out of shape. How did I let this happen? How did I get in that deep, deep pit a lot of us fall into?
I know, like, I'm going to use this as an example because I've been getting back in the swing of playing video games. But like,
God.
how when NHL 90 or NHL 2004 has been robbing me of my my all time. It's so much fun. But you can create a character in the game.
I know.
And when your character is created, he sucks at first. And then over time, you're like, oh, now you bumped up from a 70 to a 71 to a 72. And if you skip, the training sessions that you're supposed to do, he'll digress again. Okay, he was a 75 player now he's a 74. Now he's a 73. Then you can kind of do the same thing with your body where you're like, okay, I want to get this person, yourself, as strong as I possibly can or in great shape, or I want to get these last 10, 20 pounds off. And you can start to kind of build your character, create your character, what you want him to look like, how you want him to feel. Is he fast? Is he slow? Is he strong? Is he this? But when you start skipping the training sessions, skipping the workouts, all of a sudden things are going to begin to digress and go the other way. But it all starts with you. And like you said, kind of with like the keto thing was a big one for a long, long time. Which if it works for you and you can do it, great. I think if you're in California, it's probably like a little bit easier. But here in the Midwest, it's kind of hard to not have like any essentially bread or carbohydrates or things like that. And if hey, Friday, every night, my family, we get pizza and we watch a movie or we take the kids out for ice cream or something like that. If that's kind of your one bit of breathing room during the week where you can live a little bit, don't have to have the wheels fall off, but you're like, I don't want to rob myself of this family time. It's okay to say, keto might not be for me, rather than, there's people that we've asked in the gym where it's like, what's worked for you diet wise, or have you exercised before? And they're like, oh yeah, well, I did keto. This isn't just a shit on keto, just using it for an example. But they'll go, oh, I lost 30 pounds when I was doing keto. And it worked great. And then I'm like, well, what's going on now? They're like, oh, well, I gained 40 pounds back.
Exactly.
So you're like, well, obviously you couldn't sustain this.
Yeah.
So trying to find that thing that works for you so you can go, okay, this is going to allow me to get better, to get healthier, to get in shape. And, basically it's okay to do something that for you not to do something that your neighbor's doing, or for you to do X, Y, and Z. I know the big thing now, everybody's talking about Ozempic, and I listened to a podcast and they said that naturally when we lose weight, we will lose, especially if you're bigger, right? They go, you will lose probably 2/3 of your weight loss will be fat, which is a good thing. And about 1/3 of it will be muscle tissue. And they go, part of it is because your body just doesn't need as much muscle because you're getting smaller now. So if you were 300 pounds, you don't need that 300-pound build to support your body anymore. So they said essentially when you go to lose weight, they go a nice steady pace, 1 to 3 pounds a week. And the big picture, you'll probably lose 2/3 of fat and maybe 1/3 of muscle, but that's kind of just what happens. And they're finding that with Ozempic now, people are losing 2/3 of their muscle and only 1/3 of fat. Yikes. So, and it plays this mind game with people because they jump on the scale and they go, oh my gosh, this is working. The scale's going down. But internally, it's kind of doing the opposite effect. You're holding on to more body fat and the muscle tissue's going away. But again, that comes with that identity shift where you go, okay, I'm doing this for the long haul. I'm doing this so my thermostat can stay heating up so I can keep kind of upgrading this player that I want. Otherwise, when you start to cut corners, you're not really changing your lifestyle. And there's hundreds of reasons that you
Well,
can take Ozempic, right? If you're severely overweight, or if you have diabetes, or you have high blood sugar, and you're like, I need to do this to save my life, and that's one thing. But for a lot of us, we keep trying to look for like the cheat code part when you're
well,
not addressing the underlying situation that's the identity change.
the reason Ozempic works and the reason that makes sense to me, and I would never try to act like I'm some type of expert on it. I don't know the first thing about it, but okay, I know the first thing about it is it curbs your appetite a whole bunch, right? So you don't eat as much, which means you're not, as much as you're not eating crap, you're also not eating good stuff that human beings are supposed to be eating, right? We're not meant to not eat, but that preaches to why the muscle tissue is dissipated, because you're not even eating. Like, we have the macronutrients, we have protein, which is the building block of everything, and then we have our carbs and our fats, which are our energy sources. And with this, I don't know if it's kind of a stimulant, so you're still energized without being hungry. I don't know. That's what makes sense to me, why it would work, because it would kind of, like, when I haven't eaten in a long time, I'm zonked. My energy's out. And if I only, if especially if I'm not having carbs or fats, if I'm just like going real clean, real protein or whatever, real heavy, I feel my energy gone, and I go, I need to eat, right? You
Yeah.
can tell, just like you can, just like I'm sure most people listening to this podcast can. So I'm sure once you're on this, there is some type of stimulant that allows the energy to keep going. But yeah, preaching to that makes total sense, because it's not that you're not eating bad stuff anymore. It's that you're not eating nearly anything anymore.
Good stuff as well.
Yeah. So guess what? Caloric deficit, weight loss. But we all know, or as we know, and if you listen to our podcast, what's huge, the healthy lifestyle has to do with the right foods, eating foods the way that people are supposed to. Like, a dog eats dog food, and a cat eats cat food, and cows eat cow food. Humans got to eat human food. We can't just eat Skittles and ice cream and think it's okay. There are rules. And so, yeah, that's interesting that you laid it out like that. That makes total sense, right? Like, at what cost? And then, like you said, somebody who's morbidly obese, or really it's like really life threatening. Yeah, if that's what's going to work, by all means, you definitely should. Or somebody who just needs to. We have a member now who's lost 70 pounds, and I think he started, maybe January, and it's not Ozempic, but it's something similar in the same ballpark. And it's just like, he's also in the gym every day.
Yeah.
He's not just relying on it. So it's like there's definitely ways when it can really be beneficial, for sure. But I don't know his long-term goals. I don't know the plan. I don't know if it's something that he sticks with forever. I don't know if it's something that after he reaches a manageable weight, then he is able to adopt his lifestyle. But, the hope and the goal is, all of it is that lifestyle. And you go, oh, I'm just not a person that sits around as much, And,
Yeah.
and the truth is, at the end of the day, it is hard. So we can say it. It's easy to say, yeah, you just eat lean meats, vegetables, fruits, monitor processed foods, and move your body. It's easy to just say, but it's hard, and especially hard to start. Like watching the Olympics, you say, hey, run a 200-meter sprint. Okay, to them it's like, okay, I do that 1,000,000 times a week. This is what I do. For somebody, that's like, shit, I haven't sprinted 200 meters in years. So it's hard. It's harder for one person A versus person B, right?
Yeah.
And the same in this too. Somebody goes, I've just been eating microwave pizzas, and I never learned how to cook from college, and all I have is popcorn, and all I have is, it's just like, yeah, oh well, we've learned that that's not what you should be doing, and that's why you feel crap, and that's why you have all of this underlying health factors, and that's why you're having this moment of going, I gotta feel better. I gotta get my life around. I gotta look better. I want to be better. And so it's like, it's gonna be hard, and you gotta understand and go, I'm not just gonna wake up one day, get it all done, and then drop 70 pounds and just be this ripped Olympian. No, it's gonna take some time, and that's okay. But I'm gonna do it every day. I'm operating at a 70 now. I'm not operating at a 65 anymore. I'm going to make a conscious choice. And, 2 weeks from now, I'm going to feel better. 4 weeks from now, I'm going to feel better. And then it compiles and compiles. It's
And then
not.
you get like addicted to that feeling of being good that you're like, I don't want to go back to the old me. I don't want to feel like crap all the time. There was
Like scares
another
you.
analogy when they were like, imagine there's two people and both people used to smoke. And you go up to both of these people, and person A, you say, would you like a cigarette? And person A goes, no, I'm trying to quit. I shouldn't smoke. It's bad for me. I'm really trying to kick the habit. And person B, you offer a cigarette to, and they go, no, thanks. I don't smoke, or I don't smoke anymore. So person B, you can tell the identity shift has changed where they no longer identify as a smoker, whereas person A was like, I'm trying to quit. It's not good. Even though they both have the same goal, the same end game, they know they shouldn't smoke. They're not doing it. But one person is going, I still identify as a smoker. I'm just somebody who's trying to stop it, as opposed to the other person that goes, no, that's not me anymore.
You leave the door cracked open, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of that feeling like I can always go back. I can always go back.
That makes me think of my buddy. He's ever since high school smokes, loves smoking. He's like a fun guy. He's such a unique character. You know him, you met him at my wedding, but he's just that's why we love him so much. Is he's like literally one of one.
The
guy.
one in a million person. You're like, I can never let you go.
Yes, exactly. I've harnessed him. He's part of my circle forever. But anyway, his thing was, I smoke when I drink, and it was like, okay. So then like we'd all go out, and mind you, this is kids, 18, 19, 20, 21, like all that time. And he'd be like, okay, so then we'd be at literally his parents' basement, and we'd be drinking, and he'd go outside and he'd start smoking, and it was just like, okay. Now, he's just a full-on smoker now, and he knows this, and everybody knows it, but it's kind of like it was the creep effect, where he was just like, now I only do it when it's this, I have a control on it. It's not dangerous, it's not this. But then you saw him start doing milestones. He goes, once I'm married, because my wife doesn't like it, so I'm not gonna do it around her. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, once I have a kid, and then once I turn this age, once I turn that, once it was my 30th birthday, and it's that just reminded me, it's the similar thing. It's if he would have just said, yeah, I don't smoke. Even when I drink, I don't smoke, or even, but he left the window open. He goes, I don't smoke unless we're having some beers. And then all of a sudden it turns into, I'll just have a casual one here and there, or unless we're golfing, if we're on the golf course, or unless it's a beautiful day on the ride home, and then it turns into, I have one when I punch out.
If I had a bad day at work, then I'll do it too.
And then
you're just a smoker is what you are.
Yeah, and it turned into I got to have one in the morning with my coffee to get me going. And I mean, it just turns into off to the races it's the same exact way with nutrition, right? And I do it often. We were up north this weekend, and it's just like, okay, well, we wake up, we have breakfast, Rowan goes down, blah, blah, blah. So it's just like, it's not as routine. And you end up feeling worse. Is everything okay over there? So I'll flash.
We're good. My light turned off. There we go.
He's back. Anyway, yeah, that was a good point of just being like, no, I'm not somebody who smokes, or I'm not somebody who eats fast food, or I'm not whatever your thing is.
And like how you said, it doesn't mean that you can never have those things. It's the same thing if you were a habitual drive-through person, or if every morning you had a donut when you woke up, and somebody said, one day, do you want a donut? And then you go either, no, I'm trying to get in shape, I'm not allowed to have that. Or you go, I don't eat donuts anymore for breakfast. I don't want it. I don't like them. I'm getting in shape. This is the new me. Not that you can never have a donut again.
Yeah.
But you're going, okay, this is my mission. This is my goal. I want to improve. I want to get in shape. So I know that stuff is going to have to take a back seat. And otherwise it is. The window's always open. The door's always open. And you're like, yeah, but just this once. And just this once. And just this once. And one more time.
But that
And then
turns
a week
into,
goes by and you're like, oh shit, I still had 3 donuts this week.
yeah, that turns into, I had one today. I might as well just have one later in the day too, because I've already been bad today.
Yeah.
And then that turns, then you want it the next day because all of the addictive properties and all of this stuff, you know, we want it. We want to kind of keep chasing the dragon or whatever the expression is. And yeah, and then you go, well, I'll just have it on the weekend. And then it's, well, I'll just have it on the weekends. And then it's
Yeah.
just like, but I had a brutal Monday, so I'll have it today too. And it's in the house. I don't want it to go to waste, so I'll have it now too.
There's one more left, or there's 2 more left.
Yeah,
I'll just eat
finish
these
it
last
out.
2.
Just finish it, yeah. I mean, I'm fully guilty on that too. And since having a baby, you know, we get him donuts all the time. We'll get Dunkin' Donuts, so we get him those little Munchkin donut holes. So it's just like, you think I'm not gonna grab one? Come on, you know.
Better than a whole donut, though.
Yeah,
The little ball.
yeah, just the little ones. I don't
But
eat donuts, but I just have the little ones.
that's a young man's kryptonite. You can get rid of every sweet in the world,
Yeah, that's your thing.
and donuts have always been my nemesis. Can't have them around me, can't have them near me, because your boy will go to town.
We should go through and find all of the clips that we talked about donuts on this podcast and clip them all together.
Oh, probably.
It's you going, I love donuts, just
In case
over and
you
over.
don't know. They are my jam, though.
Homer Simpson.
It really is. It's like that. But that's the biggest thing, people, is I think the biggest, not a mistake, but the biggest misconception when people have to get in shape is that it's all physical. And they go, I have to do effort and I physically have to move my body. And yes, there's some truth to that. But the mental side of it is so much more important. And people usually put the cart before the horse, where you have to go, okay, this is the new me. The habits that I've been doing have gotten me to this point. So I need to change stuff in order to evolve to the new me. And there's that quote that says, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Yep.
You can keep doing the stuff that you can hope all in the world. But if you don't change your habits and form that new identity and kind of build that new player that you want and get those new skills and those new attributes, eventually you'll always just stay stuck at that level 70 or that level 60 or whatever it is. But you go, okay, I want my guy to be an 85 or a 90 or a 95. To do that, you got to start doing the things that those people or those players begin to do. And again,
It's
if there's a wedding or a cheat day or a barbecue or a party, you know, you can have some fun and enjoy yourself still. But as long as the other 90 to 95% is right back to getting on track again.
I think we don't have the foresight to know that it's going to feel easy one day. Because if I'm operating at a 70 and I want to operate at a 75 using this metaphor, it's hard for a while because it's all new. It's new. Everything new is hard, whatever it is. New job, new school, new anything that you have never done before. The first time is hard, and then it gets easier and easier incrementally. It's the same with this. So we don't have the foresight, I think, a lot of us, myself included, to embark on something new and just go, yeah, it's going to suck for a while, and then it's going to get easy. You know, and everyone can apply that to themselves right now in the career that they have right now. When they started that job, they have such a better handle on it right now than they did when they started, right? And so the same thing you apply to a lifestyle. You go, yeah, it's going to be hard for a little bit. And then it becomes very, very routine. Like, you know, us and doing a 30-minute workout every single day. That's very routine. It doesn't really weigh on me that much. I go, at this time, there's a day every once in a while. There's days that I'm just like, God, I really don't feel like it, which I'm sure you feel the same way. And there's a days when every once in a while where it wins, and I just don't do it. And I rationalize, and I go, okay, I'm not doing it, whatever. But 99% of the time, that doesn't happen. It's not because it's not a challenge. It's not because I'm some whatever, or you're some, guru, and you got that dog in you, or whatever. It's just, you've been doing it for so long. That's your normal operating. You
just like brushing your teeth. It's like getting gas. It's like doing laundry. You're like, this is just something that I do every day.
To further that point, if somebody had never brushed their teeth and I said, hey, go brush your teeth, it would be hard for them. They'd be like, what? How do I do? Is this what I do? This is weird moving Your gums would be bleeding. You'd be all sore. Like, it would be weird. As silly as that sounds, this is how the world works. Every single thing. Walking, we all walk around. Guess what? When you were a
Wasn't easy at
1-year-old,
first.
you were falling all over the place. It was hard. You had no idea how to do it, but you just did it, and now we can all just operate because you just have been doing it for so long.
Yeah, you don't even think about it now.
Yeah, but enduring the suck, knowing that there's a storm coming and just showing up. And this is a beautiful, well-rounded way to just get back to the thing that is always the most important with healthy lifestyle. Consistency wins no matter what. And I think this is a great way to show that. Getting up to that 75 or that 80 or whatever your goal is on that thermostat, getting there, it's hard at first, and that's okay. Don't be afraid of hard. Embrace hard. Do something hard every single day. Look at this, Corey. It's what we always say. It's
Every day. Every podcast.
It's important. It's important. God, I hope one person one time listens to this and goes, oh, shit.
I did it.
I think they got something. I think that's right. I hope so.
I did it.
That's my goal.
But hopefully that helped you guys. Get your head in the right spot. I know this is going to be a weird month coming up with the kids. Everybody's routines are going to change again. Kids go back to school. And this is usually the time where people go, okay, kids are out of the house. I got to get back to focusing on me. Maybe I had too much fun over the summer, or maybe I'm like, this is the moment where I got to do something, and use this to your advantage. Think about the person you want to become, the identity shift that has to happen. Don't identify as the old you who's doing something just because they have to do it, but think of it as this is the new me going forward. And I have to break some habits to create some better habits. And when you can do that over and over, eventually that thermostat begins to rise and rise and rise. And you're kind of that player that you dreamed of being.
Yeah. Know that it's going to get easy one day.
Yeah.
And
it always does.
Once
it's like building a house. If I told you to build a whole house tomorrow,
right,
you would go, how the hell am I going to do this? But if you've been building houses your whole life and that's your job, you're like, okay, I know what kind of lumber to use. I know what to grab here. These are the windows. This is the foundation we're building. Boom, boom, boom.
Exactly right. Just know, bank on it getting easy one day. And the only way it gets easy is you got to do it when it's hard.
By doing.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Boom. But look at came dressed for the podcast.
That was perfect.
But
Flip it.
What else, people? Should you need anything to help you on your fitness journey, whether you do want to get in shape or you're like, I got to start somewhere. I don't know the food to eat. I know my diet's crap. If you need anything, if you go to core4supplements.com, our green supplement is delicious. If you're somebody that you're not getting nowhere near enough fruits, vegetables, vitamins through the food that you're eating, the green supplement tastes great. I've told you before, but our kids will drink it. I just say it's green juice and they'll scarf it down. And it's got a whole day worth of vitamins and nutrients that you aren't getting through fruits and vegetables all in one little scoop. So you just dump it in your water, stir it up, and it's delicious. And then, like always, guys, the protein is fantastic. The whey protein, vegan protein, everything on there is delicious. And we got a bunch of other stuff, too, if you guys want to shop around a bit. One more time, that's core4supplements.com. And if you listen or watch the podcast at the checkout, if you use the code word podcast, you'll save 10% off of your entire order. And if you spend over $100, you get free shipping on everything. So it'll ship right to your door for free. So kind of double coupons on that one.
Can't beat it.
But what else? I think that's it, peoples.
That's
Other
all.
than that,
14-3 and a Super Bowl. You can get Lions over 13.5 win totals, Corey. It's like plus 600. Telling you, throw $10 on it. You'll be so thankful. There's no way they don't win 14 games. As long as everyone stays healthy, E.J. Mosley out for the year again.
I know.
But that's why we drafted 2 corners. We'll be okay.
Do you see that Terrion Arnold got a concussion last game too?
Oh, did he? Or last practice?
He'll be able to bounce back, but I know. First
I didn't
practice, team is getting decimated. But We'll see. We can add
That's the
somebody.
one thing.
People always get released from training camp, so scoop up a
There's
vet
a
or
lot
two.
of good there's a lot of good veteran free agents out still. Justin Simmons is still out there. Stephen Gilmore, the good one.
Yeah.
His
Plug him in
brother
for a year.
plays for our yeah. We'll
Have
be
him
all right.
mentor the young corners.
We'll be all
We
right.
shall see. But that's all, peoples. By the time you get this, reminder, Lions will be playing in 24 hours. Booyah. But that's all, peoples. Behave yourselves. Go Lions. And we'll see y'all next week.
Bye-bye. Love you.
Bye.